Welcome to Feed the Matriarchy. We're sisters, moms, and women who spent way too many years trying to shrink ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, we're done. Each week, we get real about food, body image, mental health, parenting, and how patriarchy has shaped the way we live in our bodies. Together, we'll unlearn the lies of diet culture, talk about what nourishment really means, and explore how taking care of ourselves is a radical act of resistance. This isn't a podcast about shrinking, it's about expanding. So let's feed the matriarchy.
Hey.
Well, hey, we are at our final episode for season 1. We made it.
Wild.
This is where I need the drum roll, Heather. Or the beatboxing. There was a hot minute there where I kept talking about beatboxing.
I was like, "You're not a beatboxer, please stop."
Yeah.
It was amazing. Joe, when we started this, when you first approached me about it, and then we were like, let's do it. Okay, we're gonna do it. Okay, we're really gonna
hmm
do it. You got all the
hmm
stuff. You were like, I don't know, maybe we'll do like a few,
Yeah.
and then
It's like, let's do 6 or something. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
right. And you were like, we'll have a few guests. You're
hmm
thinking of like nutritionists that you knew, right?
hmm
Very general,
Yeah.
we're
Therapist that I
like,
knew. Yeah.
yeah, and it was like, let's talk about grandma, let's talk about her stories, right?
hmm
Let's share our perspective and hope that it just, brings some light into the world, right?
hmm
It encourages women.
hmm
Right. And we really didn't we did I can't believe that we're ending this at 21
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah,
I just
21 fucking episodes.
I
Yeah.
didn't expect it. I didn't expect it, and I didn't expect that we would have on people that neither one of us knew personally. Like, that, like, blew my mind. I was like, "What do you mean, so and so or what?" Okay, like,
Like,
that's a
it's like yeah.
that person wrote a book,
Yeah.
there were several
Uh,
people who wrote books,
I was
right?
gonna say, like, a lot of our guests have actually written books. It's like what you said, on the episode with, like, when I was introing Lou Chakowski, you were like, "So everybody, she's a big fucking deal." And, like, I
Yeah,
feel like that
right.
and I feel like that with,
Yeah.
like, so many of the guests that we've
Yeah.
had on where I'm just like, "Oh my god," like, Breeze, I was like, "You're a big fucking Dr. Lulu." Like, I'm not even gonna name, like, Deb
Dr.
Benfield.
Lulu, I know.
Just so many people that came on and shared their stories with us. Um,
I also
yeah.
remember the moment where we started to have, like, the same number of people that we didn't know personally as we sort of knew personally, right? Like, there was sort of this
Mhm,
tipping point, and we were talking about it, and I was thinking to myself, I don't wanna treat them any differently than I just wanna have the same
mm,
conversation. I just wanna show up
yeah,
as my same self, my same authentic,
yeah,
genuine self in the same way. I mean, of course, if you've got a long history with somebody, that's different, and that's always gonna be different. But I didn't wanna put on my, like, "Okay, now you're sort of a minor celebrity or maybe even more of a major celebrity,"
mhm,
hat, right? And then try to do,
yeah,
like, a song and dance. I was like, "That seems
yeah,
ridiculous to me." I'm really, really uncomfortable generally with celebrity culture, I just am.
yeah,
I just feel like it's weird that there's that pe there are people that know other people and don't know them at all, and it's like, the whole thing about it, like,
yeah,
if I
yeah, they're
see a
not any
celebrity
better.
walking right, if I see a celebrity walking down the street, I am like, I will not approach them. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I love Amy Poehler so much. I think she's amazing. I think what she's done in the world is amazing. I think she's fucking hysterical, and if I saw her walking down the street, I would leave that woman in peace. I would be like,
man, but I
"Peace.
love Amy Poehler so much, I don't think I could do it.
You couldn't do
I think
it."
I would want a picture with her.
No. I would
I
be like,
couldn't
"I
do it.
can't.
I couldn't do
Poor
it. She's so
Amy's just trying to
amazing.
fucking walk down the street. I
I
can't do it."
know. I would
I
probably
hate
approach her though.
I hate the whole there you go. There's our different personalities. But so anyway, just
Yes, but I
talking
get what
about,
you're
like,
saying. Yeah,
celebrity culture aspect of it, I was like, I don't
yeah,
wanna show up differently with some of these people. I wanna show up still as my same self. And I think that I did. I think that we did, and I think that's powerful because that also
mhm.
says, like, all of these women's voices are important, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, it's And I love the fact that we interviewed so many people that we know personally, like,
Yeah.
deeply,
Yeah.
personally, deeply well, right?
Yeah. 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 Well, because I think really Um, the the premise of the podcast has always been and will always be, like, to elevate women's voices and
Yes.
we started out talking a lot more, I think, especially just in our couple of intros, and stage setting for the podcast. Those of who have been with us from the beginning know we started out talking about, anti-diet, women need to grow, women need to take up space. Our grandmother didn't take up space. She was the matriarch. She ran the family, and yet she still felt like she had to shrink herself. So we wanted to
Yep.
just grow women. Stop
Yes.
shrinking, start taking up space. It's like one of our taglines. And from that, we've been able to bring women on from all different avenues and areas, from all different
Truly.
fields, like literally
Yeah.
from a lot of different places. And every person's voice, every person's story is unique and so important. And I think that that's
Yes.
the opposite of like that sort of like celebrity culture, like, ooh, this person has more important things to share because they have X, Y, and Z. No, every person's story is so valuable, especially within the matriarchy, for us to be learning from each other,
Yes.
for us to be growing from each other. Um,
Yes.
because I did genuinely learn from somebody in every episode that we did.
I did
I
too.
got to I got to learn, like,
Yes.
new ways that I wanted to grow myself. Like, I that's what I think
Yes.
is so cool about what we've done on this podcast and, like, what people have shared with us, because I think it's been less us and more them, is
100%.
that I've been able to learn how I wanna keep taking up more space in my
Yeah.
life and how I
Yeah.
wanna grow myself more in my life, and it's so cool, it's so fun, and this is a matriarchy, man, this is why we're doing it, because
Yeah.
I thought I was starting a podcast where I was gonna have listeners come in and, like, and listen, and I was gonna, like, do, like, work with, like, therapists and dietitians and teach
Mhm.
and, like, and instead it was like, no, the stories are all already there. Like, women
We're
are
just
already learning
listening.
we're just listening. We're just
We're
like,
just
I just
learning.
wanna give them a microphone and be like, teach us how to take up more space. You've been doing it.
Tell
Now
me.
teach us."
Tell
Yeah.
me how you learned, tell me how you figured it out, and the level of vulnerability and transparency that
Mm.
people have
Mhm.
shown has, like, blown me away, and that's
Mhm.
what it takes to create change, I
Yeah,
think,
that's what it
right?
takes to create change.
Like,
Yeah.
starting with our first guest, Jen, who was, like,
Mhm.
just so raw about new motherhood for her,
Yeah, about
right?
matrescence, yeah, and what it was and
Ah.
what how hard it was for her, yeah.
How hard it was for her, how it interacted with her childhood. It was just really, really powerful. And then Ignacia coming on and talking about being an immigrant and having this like very theoretical sort of perspective or understanding, but then tying it completely, totally back
Mhm.
to like her own personal experience too. And
Mhm.
being learning to embrace her beauty and herself,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
uniqueness. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
I just go through every single one of them, but I think of, Amanda Pyle
Mhm.
and the intersectionality of it and being in a larger body. I think of Christina Hartman
Mhm.
and who's just like, "You know what? I was just raised with a really strong sense of self and a really
Yeah.
strong sort of way of learning to listen to myself, and that's how my mother raised me, and so, I remember
Yeah.
we at one point, we were talking, and I said, "Well, I wanna have someone come on who 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 didn't who started out strong, right?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
and, like,
Who
she
didn't
really
start out
did."
with, like, a baseline of, like, struggling around body image and struggling around themselves. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Yaya episode was really fun for me. I think, of
Yeah.
course, like, that one was probably less fun for everyone else maybe, and, like, super fun for us because we just got to,
Yeah.
like, reminisce,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the village dynamics.
Yeah, and even within that, there was, like, a component of, like, mic drop moments where I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that I would be learning in this moment, in this
Right.
episode," where Sarah was talking
Yeah,
about, like, being tied together as women, and I was like, "Whoa, mic drop." Like,
I
really,
know.
like, yeah, we are, like, all tied together.
So
Um,
Sarah, yep.
yeah. Well, and we've had what I love about our episodes and what I love about our matriarchy, and we're like, I mean, we're just going through and naming people right now, and what I think is dangerous is that is we might miss somebody, and I don't want to
I
miss
know, and I
anybody.
don't wanna miss
But
anybody, yeah.
what I think is really cool is that we've had like you're naming people that their profession isn't specifically anti-diet or like nourishment.
Right.
Um, and they were came on to share their personal stories, and we also have, like, had really cool people that where their profession is that,
Yes.
such as
Yes.
Deb Benfield or Tammy Gangloff or, like, people that came
Yes.
on as therapists and dietitians to share with
Yes.
us, like, how personally and professionally they've brought that work together. But I love that it's not just one type of person that's wanted to share their story with us. It's not just somebody that's
No.
been in this field. But that
Yes.
instead, it's like it's multiple different people from all
Yeah.
different areas coming to talk to us about how they tie this all together
Yeah.
in their work and their life.
I feel like I can I feel like I'm in my head, they're all having a conversation with each other all the time. Patty McDonald, right? A juvenile rheumatoid arthritis survivor is talking with Tammy, right?
Yeah.
Gangloff, right?
Yeah.
Who's
Who's
the
that?
expert in it too, you
Yeah,
know?
and then
Yeah.
Penny's talking with Blakely about intimacy and sex and, like, all of
Yes.
that and tying together, and that was the
Yeah.
coolest episode too, just something that I was like,
Yeah.
"This is so important for us to be talking about."
Yeah.
Like, something that we don't talk about is desire and intimacy and sex enough, like, and, like, leave open spaces for women, and they all do end up converging. They
Yeah.
all do end up converging.
So it's felt like this great conversation between and among women.
Women.
Like,
Yeah,
generally, right? And
yeah,
so and
1,000%.
I've had friends, who are just regularly listening, um, just always, listen every week or catch up on
Mhm,
episodes, tell me different episodes that have really spoken to them, right? And
mhm,
because of
mhm.
where they're at in their life and what they're dealing with and who they are, and not every episode's for everybody, but there's
Sure.
been, episodes that are just spoken to different people in different ways, and I just think that's been really powerful too. It's been
Yeah.
fascinating to get to be a part of, and I have to say it is your brainchild. This is you
Aw,
growing out of
thanks.
what you've done, growing out of your life story, growing out of your work, growing out of the book
Yeah.
that you wrote, because you also wrote your own book, right? Along with,
Oh, I did. I forget that. Yeah, I did.
Yep, you wrote your own book.
That was almost like a disassociated experience while I wrote it. Like, I think that's a question for all the authors that came on. Did you just, like, completely forget that you wrote that? Like, it just took up so much time. Yeah. Ugh.
Right. It was a big deal,
Mm.
and then the way that you've grown your platform, your social media platform, and your voice, and reach parents, and I think when you started this, you were kinda like, "Okay, well, this is another
Mhm.
platform for me to reach parents and reach people and impact,
Mhm.
the culture with your famous tagline, "Bodies come in all shapes and sizes,"
That
right?
is my tagline, "Bodies come in all shapes
All
and
shapes and
sizes."
sizes, and of
Yeah.
learning to love and embrace yourself and to not be held captive by
Yeah.
diet culture, but then it grew. I think it started out as like an anti-diet culture
Yep.
podcast, eat the
Yeah.
cake, feed grandma,
Did.
and it became something larger of what do women have to say, especially at this point in
Yeah.
time where we're sitting
Yeah.
right now. What's your
Yeah.
story?
What's your
How are
story?
you
How'd you get
taking up
here?
space? But
Mhm.
bigger than just anti-diet space, how are you taking up space generally, right?
Yep.
How are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
growing?
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think you've learned, about taking up space? And you can flip the question back on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so many things. To be to to be kind to myself and gracious to myself,
Mhm.
to accept the fact that I don't have to have all the answers and that I won't and that I can't.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I can be wrong. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
it's not a moral failing to
Yeah.
not have it all figured out yet,
Yeah.
even
As
at
being
this
the one
age.
that that edits the podcasts, I'll say that I've heard you say that, like, a lot with our guests. Like, every time they're talking, you'll be like, "Yes, I'm learning that I don't have to be right all the time." And I was like,
Yes.
as I'm, like, editing the podcast, I'm like, "Heather is
Ah.
really learning this."
It is.
This is, like, her journey that she's, because 'cause you're like, you're picking up on it from all of our guests, and I'm like, you're like, I'm hearing you, like, reiterate it over and over again, you know?
And because my fatal flaw, right? This is a phrase that Christina, my friend Christina Hartman, will often say, and she's on the
Mhm.
podcast. But my one of my fatal flaws, she talks a lot about like your super strength, like the thing you do really well, and then your fatal flaw. My
Mhm.
fatal flaw is thinking that if I just try hard enough and work hard
Yeah.
enough and put in enough
Yeah.
time, that every
That it'll
problem can be solved. It's like that The Good Place. I've got like a little bit of that cheaty dynamic. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
we just
yeah.
haven't
You
found
remember
the
that
answer yet, you know?
led Chidi to hell, so we're just gonna make
Yes,
sure that
exactly.
we
Sent
understand.
him to the bad place.
Send him to the bad place. For those of you that have not, watched The Good Place yet, you should,
Sorry. Yeah.
especially because it's a good one to reference right now with the hellscape that we're living in. It's like, I
It's
can't
totally true.
send that gif enough, like, "Oh, this is
This
the
is
bad
the bad
place.
place.
This is the bad place. This is the bad place." I mean, it is. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I've learned, I've known it. I've known it my whole life. Everyone's always said it to me. But there's
Mhm.
something really powerful about listening to other people also recognize it. And
Yeah.
seeing them like, "Okay, that person's a total badass. They're an amazing human being.
Mhm.
I've just listened to their whole story. I think it's so powerful. Um, why can't I learn to have grace for myself the way that I have for them?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's like, I wanna be able to give that back to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe?
Yes, I knew you were gonna flip the question on me.
Yep.
I'm going to be prepared to answer it now because I asked it, and now I have to answer it, and you would think I'd be better at that because I told you that you could ask me it. Um,
Mm.
no, I do actually have an answer. I am learning, and I will continue to say that, like, it is a journey for me because I think it's an ever evolving and changing process. I am learning that there is not one way for a woman to take up space.
Mm.
Because of my personality, because of who I am, because of like who and we reference this a lot, the culture that we were raised in, like in our family and how our family operates. I have always thought that like taking up space is loud. Taking up space is, like,
Yeah.
rebellious. Taking
Mhm.
up space is, like, kinda a little, like, in your face.
Mhm.
Um, and I have really loved meeting and learning and growing from women who have a lot of different ways that they do that,
Yeah.
and a lot of different ways, and sometimes that's quieter, but it's still taking up space, it's still growing yourself.
Yes.
Sometimes that is still aggressive. Sometimes it's much more strategic in
Mhm.
that. You know, I loved like, I was thinking about, Breeze and talking about how she's teaching her boys about, like, about, like, what the patriarchy is and teaching her boys, like, how to raise better boys. And that's I mean, that's not, like, loud and in your face, but that's just, like, within her family unit. I mean, she is
Yeah.
talking about it and promoting it, but, like, it's just within her family unit. And that, I go hard on everything I do, hence, starting the podcast, I guess. Like, everything I do, I'm like, "Let's get all in." I'm all in, you know?
Right.
Um, but I love hearing from women that have figured out, like, where they want to be focused and that it doesn't have to be 100. I'm not saying that this is Breeze, I'm just kind of moving into other examples, like, I love hearing from women where they, like, are learning that that they have a niche that they're focusing on, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be everything, it can be this thing, and
Yes.
there's a gentleness to it too. And I just man, I think that's the matriarchy. I think that that's what it is. I think, like,
Yeah.
when I think about what a matriarchal, like, society is, what a matriarchal person is, it's like that we value all that diversity, that there can be a
Mhm.
loud and extroverted sort of, like, take on things and a push for it, and that there's value to that, and that we can also value the quiet We can also
Mhm.
value the softer and the more intentional, and that there's beauty in both of those ways of learning to take up space. And it doesn't have to just be loud and active and in your face all the time.
No, and I think learning how to draw your boundaries too. I have a friend
Mm,
who has talked a lot with me in the past about learning to protect her time and
mhm,
to protect her peace.
mhm,
And she'll
mhm,
talk about that a lot. And she has just been really good about she hasn't been on the podcast, but just I think she's listened about protecting her priorities and her values,
mhm.
her time and where she spends her energy, where she devotes her energy. And she's very good at recognizing that she's not perfect and it doesn't bother her. The
Yeah,
way she's or it
yeah.
doesn't, she's gotten comfortable with disappointing people, right?
Mhm,
And I think as
mhm.
women, we are so conditioned by society not to disappoint people. You
Yeah,
give, you
yeah.
give, you give, you give, right? Don't
Yep,
ever
yeah.
disappoint anybody. Don't ever turn anything down. And this friend of mine
Mhm.
has just gotten, she's just like, yeah, that's going to disappoint you. You'll have to deal with your disappointment.
Yep,
Like,
I'd rather
that's it.
disappoint you than disappoint myself. That's ki
Yeah.
that kinda, like, language around it. Yeah,
Right, or someone else,
yeah.
in my family who needs me or another. This is
Mhm,
just how it is. I have a limited supply of myself, and I'm
mhm,
going to have to learn where I spend my time, and so, no, I think that's a really powerful lesson too, and it's a thread that I've kind of heard
mhm.
throughout as well, like how to draw the boundaries, what are the right boundaries to draw, when to draw them.
Yep, 1,000%. I think every woman that we've talked to has, in different ways, talked about having to pause and create an intentionality with themselves. And I would say, like, if this podcast has spoken to you at all, and you're listening and thinking about how you want to take up more space in your life, it does really start with that pause and that intentionality about like what you want and what you need and what works for you and what doesn't work for you and how to kind of like keep bringing in the things that work for you and letting go of the things that don't, right?
Yeah, going back to some of the very beginner ones, right? When we were talking about diet culture and then feeling like, you know what, but we don't want to be too categorical about any of this.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
things have worked for people,
Yeah.
and they're the right things for them. I remember it was like,
Yeah.
don't ride too hard against Weight Watchers. Like that's not, it's not always fair, right? Or
Yeah.
GLP-1s.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we have,
Yeah.
I know some people, right? We
Yeah.
talked about that too. And so I think it's just that reminder of like you gotta figure yourself out and stake your own space and just
Mm.
know that you're being intentional about who you are, right? And what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that
Absolutely.
that's also been a really powerful theme. So, next season, what are we gonna do?
Yes, because there
What are
is
we
a next
thinking?
season, guys. We're taking
Yeah.
a pause, but we're coming back the first Sunday in August. So look for our next episode drop August 2nd. That's the first Sunday in August. I think that we are going to um, not leave anything that we've done. We are going to keep building on that anti-diet, take up space rhetoric. But we have already started interviewing new guests that figure out ways within their occupation and within their own sphere of influence that they have taught women to grow themselves
Yep.
beyond beyond maybe even some of the more like basic things that we think about. And it's not basic to be an anti-diet culture. I mean, I think that's actually really fucking hard in the society
Especially
that we are
now.
in, especially now.
Yeah, especially
But
now.
we also have some really cool guests coming on that are going to talk about doing that through art and in the arts, which
Mm.
I think is
Mhm.
so I'm so pumped for that because that's like it's just and this is the thing, it's like different stuff than what I've thought about before, right? Like
Yes.
I think about it like food and like from mental health and therapy. And then I love hearing about it from like all the other lenses and all the other ways. Like so in art making, there's one way of doing it. I'm pumped, and maybe this is a shout out, and I think I'm gonna get it. But I really want to have these people come on that are starting like a women's sports center, where we watch women's sports in the Philly area. Shout out if you're on here and listening, please come on our podcast. I'm really excited. I want to figure out more ways to feature women in a lot of the different areas, like where they're growing women-centered matriarchal societies. I don't know how should we have a guy on here at some point? Should we have someone that identifies as a man? Mm.
Maybe. I don't know.
Listeners, you weigh in on that. You weigh in on that. I've
Yeah, we'll have
I've
to
had a couple
see.
of people approach me,
Really?
asking and
Dudes?
saying that I have not had a dude approach me yet. I have not had
Okay.
someone that identifies as a man approach me yet. But I have had I've had a couple of listeners say at some point you guys should have like a man on, and I'm like so far this is Feed the Matriarchy. But if there's the right one out there, that's a
Yeah.
possibility. It's a
Yeah,
possibility.
talking about
How to
how to
center women.
support yeah, how
Yeah,
to support that. I don't know. I think it
but
can't be my husband, but yeah,
no, it will not. It will not. It will not. It cannot be.
he does a good job.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
but if there is a space for that, we'll make it. But for right now, I'm really loving what we're doing, where we're finding women in all different ways.
Do you know what I'd like to find? So this is also a call out if anybody knows, right? Anyone in this space.
Mhm.
I would like to find somebody who is I was talking with another friend about this, like somebody who has created one of those women co-living spaces where
Mm.
they like older ladies live
Oh my god,
together.
it's what we're gonna do. It's what we're gonna do, isn't
Right,
it?
exactly.
If
It's
each
like
of our
how
partners dies, or
yeah,
maybe we'll just do it. I don't know. We can decide how we get
they can
there.
come visit. They can come
Like visit.
they can they they can come hang out. We'll have a guest house, you know.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
But I was talking about this with a friend last night. Just like what I would want is just these tiny little houses or apartments, and then there's like, a sauna, a cold plunge, of course, like
Oh, you and your
a
cold
fire
plunges,
I
yes.
know,
Yeah.
a fire pit, a swimming pool, like a communal kitchen, a communal garden, right? Like maybe a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
workshop, bike
yeah.
room, I'm imagining we're very active in our, like,
Yes.
80s,
We're just living
a
our best
yoga
lives.
studio, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so if anyone knows anybody who's sort of developed one of those sort of communes for women who are figuring out, how to support each other and actually, physically also live together. I'd love to
Be
have
so
somebody
cool.
on in that space. I think that would be really good. I'd
That
love
would
to
be
have
so
someone come
cool.
on from like an all-girls school,
Mhm, mhm.
talk about education. We had Dr. Lulu on, talking about the trans issue. I'd really love to have a trans woman on,
Oh my god, I would
right?
love that. Yes,
Talking
yes,
about
yes,
her
yes.
experience, right? Maybe somebody
Yeah,
from another culture. I think we've got somebody teed up who's
yeah.
in the Netherlands. We've had Canadians on. We've got
Somebody from
somebody potentially from
Ireland.
Ireland, but somebody
Yeah,
who's just not from like a Western. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I know we had Dr. Lulu, who's Nigerian, but she's been living in the States for a while too. So maybe somebody just who's just living embedded in a non-Western
Culture. Yeah,
culture right now too.
yeah.
I think that would be really powerful just to listen. Again, let's just listen.
Listen, because the
Yeah.
matriarchy is so diverse, and that's I mean, if we think about, like, what when we talk about what we've learned, and that's what this episode is about, what we've learned, it is how diverse it is, and I was talking about diversity and how we take up space, right? But it's diversity in culture, diversity in race, diversity and all the different ways to be a woman, right?
Yep.
And I would just love to have more of that showcased. Absolutely love to have more of that showcased.
Yeah. A woman athlete would be really cool.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah,
who's
yeah,
like, but
yeah.
maybe not super duper famous. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if they're super famous and they want to come on. I'm just trying to,
Abby Wambach,
no,
sure,
yeah.
she can come on.
Oh my god. Ugh. Maybe. I mean, she seems like a really lovely, like wonderful person. But it's that whole,
Yeah,
I've got the fame
yeah,
aversion. I'm like, oh no.
yeah, yeah,
But
I'm making
she's probably
jokes.
just very cool, down to earth, like
Yeah,
kind-hearted soul, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think we've got a lot of more voices to hear.
yeah, yeah. Heather, I'm gonna close out and then you can turn it to me. What did you have to unlearn to stop shrinking and start taking up space in your life?
So I said this one before in a previous podcast between the two of us. And I can't remember, I think I named like 3 things. But at the end of the first season, has that changed, or what am I, and it's just what I said earlier, that I can be wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
That it's
yeah,
okay. It's okay to be wrong. Don't shrink away. Don't shrink back because you made a mistake. Just
yeah,
move forward, right? Learn, grow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think for me, I am learning, I'm gonna add to what we were just talking about. I'm learning, like, where I want my limits to be, and
Mm,
that when I take those limits and I put those limits in front of me relationally, emotionally, like, where I when I say a no to something, that ultimately frees me up to be more of myself.
yep.
And I'm continuing to figure out what that is, like, day in and day out. But listening to all these women share with us, where their yeses have been and where they've been able to really like center themselves and grow themselves has really made me think more about where I want my no's to be so that I have
Yeah.
more space for myself to have my yeses and to be involved in those yeses.
That is
That
good. That's
yeah,
really good.
that's been really powerful for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, tune in for the next season because we got a lot more people to talk to. The world's a big place.
Got more of the matriarchy to cover. We'll see you all August 2nd. Thanks everybody for tuning in so far.
All right. Talk then.
Here's to the matriarchy.
Hey, thanks for listening to Feed the Matriarchy. If today's episode sparks something in you, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to take up more space. You can follow along on Instagram at Feed the Matriarchy Collective for more conversations, resources, and sister style real talk. Until next week, stay hungry for truth, compassion, and liberation.